I thought that one was really funny when I saw that, and I thought it was so poetic. I mean, really, Bernie Sanders just had a mustache. Just need a mustache. Just grow out that mustache a little bit. It'd be perfect. But let's go ahead and dive into some of these. Woohoo! Okay, first topic that we'll be taking a look at. Oh boy. Is criminal justice. Seems like an oxymoron, but okay. The phrase criminal justice. Justice for criminals. Okay. So, the first question. Do you support the federal legalization of recreational marijuana? Oh boy. Starting this off with one. As far as my stand on it, I see who has supported and who is surprising. They seem to only have yes or maybe, not yes or no's on a lot of these. But you can definitely see who is for it. Me personally, actually, I would be for it. Just because I don't like government control. I think it should be dictated by the states more than anything else. And even below that, the individual communities should regulate it. Now, if we do legalize marijuana, there are health problems that come along with smoking marijuana. That's not a question. That's a fact. Part of reality. It is not healthy smoking marijuana. It's harmful to the health as compared to not smoking at all. A lot of people try to compare it with smoking marijuana compared to smoking cigarettes. I don't like either. So I would compare it to not smoking at all. I think it could work. I think it would be fine to put that in the lap of the individuals. As far as regulation of marijuana growth and production, I think that should be regulated just as any other health, any other food or anything produced for consumption. I think it should be open to anyone that wants to go through and get approved to grow marijuana, that they can go ahead and sell. I think the same rules should apply as to any other vegetation that you would grow, such as zucchini and so forth. But you can't do this and then force us to pay for health care, because you're taking your health in your own corner. If you want to sacrifice your health so that you can smoke marijuana, I think that should be your decision, but I'm not going to pay for it. I should not be required to pay for your drug use. You should have to live with your decisions and the consequences of those decisions, just like any other person out there. So going on to the next one, at least that's my opinion on it. As we can see, the split there. This would not be something I would necessarily determine my vote on if you're pro or against. Again, I lean more of legalizing it, but that's just my opinion on it. Would not make me decide to vote for you or not. Oh! Should any individuals vote while they are incarcerated? So, any criminals who are in jail, should we allow them to vote? My answer would be no. Of course, Bernie Sanders is there. Yes! Yes, we should let all the criminals vote. We should let all of them vote. I say once they've paid their debts to society and they are released, they earn back that right. Until then, no, I don't think they should. They've given up their rights by committing that crime and need to pay accordingly. Okay. Should the federal government develop a national standard for police use of force? Actually, I'm kind of on the fence on this one. It would not be a bad idea as far from the police point of view, as long as there are clear guidelines if these are situations. But the problem is, in a lot of times in these use of force, it goes by situation. I'm not there where the police officer is. I'm not there to say, no, you need to make this decision. I'm not the one making the decision to use the force in order to make sure I return home to my family at the end of the day. So I think there needs to be a lot of wiggle room as far as that goes, but to have guidelines from a federal standpoint wouldn't be bad. Again, that kind of goes in the face of my stance on the federal government saying hands off. But one of the roles of the federal government is to ensure safety. In this case, would be through police use of force. And I would be open to giving guidelines, at least. Not so much federal lines, you have to follow these. I think it should be on a case-by-case structure. Should the federal government stop using private prisons? I'd say no. That's about all I got on that. Just no. Now, if I have any of these questions that come up that I'm unsure about, or if I just don't know the truth behind, then I will mention that. But that's, in my opinion, I believe that we should still use them. I think that they are working and being productive. I would like to see a complete rehaul granted with prisons as more of re-education as what they're supposed to be, as compared to what they're currently 3 hots in a bunk, basically, where you just go there, you get 3 meals, and you get a place to sleep, and it's taken care of by the government. This is not government housing. Do I support eliminating a mandatory minimum in federal sentencing? So the minimum, basically the minimum punishment. I'd say yes, because it needs to be, I give more freedom to the individual judges who are making the decision, to allow them to say, okay, does this need to be less? Were there other situations that maybe led to this federal crime that we need to take into into our decision-making process? So again, I would definitely be eliminating it. Again, I'd be for eliminating minimum wage. I think you should be able to put your own number out there and say, this is what my work is worth, this is what I'm willing to work for, or what I can work for. Okay. Do you support the return to Obama? I'm going to stop you right there. The answer is no. No, thank you. No. No. That was not one of Obama's best decisions ever. Definitely anything to do with the criminal justice system was not his strong suit. Do you support federal red flag laws? No, and this is why. Red flag laws basically state if there's a red flag that a police officer or any federal agent thinks that there is maybe a possibility of something, they get the right to come in and immediately take away any firearms, any weapons in the household. They get the right to take those away if there's even a suspicion of something happening, of any sort of violent crime. No conviction needed. So you're taking away someone's rights, are given to them by the Second Amendment, in order to remove firearms. It's not really given by the Second Amendment, it's protected by the Second Amendment. Protected by the Second Amendment. I do need to restate that, because it's God-given rights to defend yourself, and that's basically what they're taking away here, is saying, hey, if you've got any suspicion at all, we get the right to come in there and take away your firearms without you needing to be convicted. Luckily, most states do not agree. Oh, this one's the fun one. I've been looking forward to getting to this one. Because I got a lot of talking to do on this one. Do you support a federal assault weapons ban? Here's the question. What is assault weapon? You use vague term, but don't define. Because technically, this knife, if I used it to assault someone, it would therefore be an assault weapon. Right? And in the same case as this hammer. But brother, they're not thinking about banning knives and hammers. That's not what they're talking about. They're talking about guns, right? They're talking about guns. Right? Not knives. And I forgot. I didn't realize, but we switched over from criminal to gun control. Oh, whoops. Okay, well, forgot that. Forgot to put that up there, but now it is. So now we're on gun control. Fun. So these would be assault weapons if I use them to assault someone with. And actually, as guns get outlawed, knives become the weapon of choice. Why? Because it's not so much a weapon issue as it is a heart issue. Cain and Abel. Cain still killed Abel with a stone. It again was not because of the weapon, but because of the heart issue. So we got this. So we got that as an option. They say, yeah, no, those aren't assault weapons. Those aren't assault weapons. Okay. Here's a couple other things, question-wise. So which one of these would be classified as an assault weapon? We have Desert Eagle. Handgun. Most do not classify this as an assault weapon, but again, according to definition, if I use this to assault someone with, it would therefore be classified as an assault weapon. This fires 45 Magnum. Right here, it's a bullet and a half. That thing. Like, comparison to my finger. Good section of my finger. 44. 44 Magnum. Sorry, not 45. 1911 does 45. Okay, it's always confused me. 45's smaller than 44 Magnum. So okay, so there's that one. That one's, I mean, that's a chunky bullet right there. So we got that one. So would that one be classified as an assault weapon? Most people would say no, because that isn't what they picture in their mind. So next one we got Bushmaster. Now this is what most people think of when they think of assault rifles. They are 15. And then we got another one. Here. We got these two right here, compared to right next to each other. So this one here. Oh look, it's got the scary extendable butt here. This is what makes it really dangerous right here. This going back and forth. That's really dangerous right there. That's a dangerous thing. Not the bullets coming out of it. So we've got those two, and one fires 556. There's a green tip. Let's zoom up there. Here we go. 556. So that right there, I mean, you see this section right here is the actual bullet coming out. This part right here. That part right there, compared to the Desert Eagle's piece of metal flying at you. That's a soft point. So that's a lot more as far as impact goes. As far as size goes. The Desert Eagle has a much larger bullet than the assault rifle. This one actually has a very small, slender bullet that's meant to go really, really fast. Unless we're talking about velocity being what the contributing factor is. Which, again, that does not always mean it does more damage. Higher velocity. Now, there is a major difference between these two. Other than the make and model. They shoot two different bullets. Where this one looks just as scary checked with all my attachment and
additional toys to it.
looks a bit more scarier. You got the front grip there, which is so nice when shooting. You got scope on it, and you got your nice little pistol grip, and it's got a bit more padding back here. And yes, this is also adjustable. But that one fires a .22 long rifle. It's a varmint gun. It fires this. It is intended for rabbit / raccoon / anything. I mean, compare that to the other rifle that looked very similar.
Looks are always can be deceiving.
Look at the teeny tiny. He looks like a baby in comparison. The size. And then let's take that again with the Desert Eagle comparison.
Teeny tiny.
Look at that, just the smallest thing ever. Now, can it be deadly? Yes, if it is hit in the correct spot, it can be very deadly. That's not just it. There's one other that I have a question about. If this would be classified as
an assault weapon.
Right here. Remember, the question is not assault rifles, it is assault weapons. So here, again, if I assaulted someone with this, the 12 gauge shotgun. It looks like a hunting gun. Most people would just classify this hunting gun. This would not be classified as an assault weapon by most people. This is what it fires. Well, more specifically, this big piece of metal. Not much penetration, but man, does this make a hole. It makes a huge hole. And this, compared to the Desert Eagle,
look at that size difference there.
This thing could literally eat the Desert Eagle bullet casing and everything without any issue. Again, your assault rifle bullet there.
This little piece right here is what
gets shot out compared to this slug. This thing is a piece of metal that's about this size coming at you. That is big, and if I was going for anything within medium range, I would definitely be using the 12 gauge. I use it for deer hunting. It is extremely effective. Puts a hole about yay big in the deer and drops them wherever. They able to drop two at a good range. Well, last deer season with them. So, but that, the shotgun, as far as size goes, as far as amount of damage that can be done, the 12 gauge shotgun used for hunting is by far the most effective and devastating out of all of these, because that piece of metal is
so freaking big,
but won't make it through most protective, any sort of protective vests or depending on the rating, because it's a big piece of metal traveling at a very slow rate of speed in comparison to the others. The others are traveling at a much faster and greater speed. Definitely the green tip. But speed does not determine devastation. So, whole thing boils down to, do I support a federal assault weapons ban? The answer is
no.
No, because one primary reason: what the heck is an assault weapons? It's undefined. It's unused. It's not really clear what that is. Are you going to start banning hammers that are used? Are you going to start banning knives?
Oh, they'd never ban knives except for in the
United Kingdom, which now are banning knives. Why? Because
their knife violence has gone up. Too much stabby.
Immigration and banning of guns for legal use.
For legal self-defense.
So no, it's idiotic.
No buyback. No nothing.
Okay. let's continue on with that one now that I've
Done my rant on there.
yeah. Okay. So, remember, we're still in our gun control. So, should federal law require all gun owners to obtain a license? Do you mean like a special additional license? Because I have my driver's license. You want a gun license, basically, if I'm understanding this correctly. You want a gun license. Well, I already have a driver's license. I already have my passport. And you need a photo ID in order to even purchase a gun, because they have to prove that it's you, and then they have to do a background check. And then on top of that, if the gun store owner gets even a slight bad feeling about you, they won't sell to you. And if the gun owner finds anything in your record, they won't sell to you. So yes, it's actually kind of a pain to buy a gun. So they want a nice whole new license to say I own a gun. The point of the Second Amendment, and I've gotten arguments about this with people. The point of the Second Amendment is not to guarantee that a person can go hunting. The point of the Second Amendment is not to guarantee that I can go out shooting with my friends. The point of the Second Amendment, in context of the Founding Fathers, what they just did, they just led a revolt against a tyrannical government using weapons which were military grade at the time. They intended for military, it was intended to allow the American people to have military grade weapons in order to overthrow a tyrannical government if America ever got to that extent. It is a safeguard for the American people. And in order to the federal government to require every gun owner to attain a new license in order to buy a gun would defeat the purpose of the Second Amendment.
Oh, but they didn't have assault weapons back then.
Again, I just went through, if I were to assault you with a hammer, that would be an assault weapon.
They didn't mean,
The rapid fire weapons nowadays, the semi-automatic weapons, which, by the way, with the exception of the shotgun, every gun that I showed you would be considered, and it is, a semi-automatic, including the Desert Eagle. It is, I pull the trigger once, the trigger right there, one bullet comes out, and I repeat. One bullet, one trigger press, one bullet. One trigger press, one bullet. That is a semi-automatic weapon. That is most handguns that are out there. Most guns in general. Shotguns are not included because there's an extra act of pumping when it comes to or reloading, counting on if it's just a one bullet shotgun. If it's just, it can only contain one bullet, or muzzle loaders. But they did back then have they did have an assault weapon, gun that could fire multiple rounds one pull of the trigger. It actually was a roundabout that they would basically crank, and it would put different loads in there, and it would still be loaded like a muzzle loader, but you load up 6 or 7 shots and then shoot all of them in rapid succession. So should the federal law require all gun owners to obtain license? No! Defeats the purpose of Second Amendment. There's actually, Biden agrees with me on that one, which is surprising. I had to flip back there just to double check that. So I agree with him. Yeah. Learn something new every day. Should federal law require gun owners to register every firearm they own? Again, same problems as the first one. No, and this is even more evasive because now they want to know exactly what guns I have, when I purchase them, and what I do with them. I will be getting rid of all my firearms in such said case.
Immediately.
Warren wants it for all. good portion of them say for only assault weapons. Again, the assault weapons term, what the frick does that even mean? They keep using that.
Only for assault weapons. Only for hammers. Let's register all hammers.
Because they get used to be assaulted against people. And eventually, if you ban everything that could possibly be used as an assault weapon, eventually you're going to start banning stones. Yeah, you have to ban stones. Just ask Cain and Abel. So, going on to the next one. Should the federal minimum age to purchase a gun be increased to 21 for all sales?
The answer is still
No. Because again, being consistent with my first answer about marijuana, I do not like the federal government stepping in saying, no, I'm going to put these laws in. I don't like the federal government having so much control. In such said case, right now, if I wanted to go buy this Desert Eagle, Israeli Desert Eagle, and I was 18, I would not be able to buy this handgun. You have to be 21 years or older right now in order to buy handguns. Actually, because one of the reasons is because those are the ones actually used in most mass shootings, most criminal situations. This, it's much easier to conceal. Well, not so much the Desert Eagle, but a different handgun. This is my open carry handgun. Different handgun would be much better to conceal than, say, the 12-gauge shotgun. Or even any of these assault rifles I have. So, it would be much easier to take this and slip this in than the 12-gauge shotgun. Even though this will make less damage than the 12-gauge shotgun. Actually, in all cases, 12-gauge shotgun is much more devastating, again, than the assault rifles. Although the assault rifles, yes, you can have more bullets, but each bullet does less damage overall. It's a smaller piece of metal. Okay, so it doesn't make any sense. I'd say no. And I am against it. Okay.
So the next one.
Do you support federal red flag laws? Again, this is a repeat from the criminal one. The answer again is no. Because it violates the Second Amendment. Pure and simple, this is absolutely violation. No question about that one. Should federal law require a background check for every gun purchase? They don't have to. We already do. There already is this requirement. Why are we asking this stupid question? Have you ever purchased a firearm? It's a lengthy process to go through the background check. Now, if you're saying a waiting period, you have to wait so many days to get a gun. Some states do have that. Some states don't. It's individual, but every state does require a background check. Even this gun show loophole doesn't exist because there is a background check. Go there and try to. You'll get the cops call. You try to buy a gun without the background check, you'll get the cops called on you. Because the people there don't want you to be doing something questionable, and it's very obvious you're trying to do something questionable. The only time that the background check would not happen is if you're buying a gun illegally anyway. And in that case, this won't matter. We're at 13.
So that just doesn't make any sense at all.
Unfortunately.
Come on, guys, think this stuff through, will you?
Okay, next one. Whatever that number is. 14, I think. Okay, now we are on to
favorite subject of
everyone, undoubtedly.
Taxes!
Oh, economic equality, they call it. Why do they call it economic equality?
It has taxes. Yes, you want money that I earned.
Do you support a tax on the assets held by the wealthiest Americans? No. Why? Actually, it's kind of funny that Bernie Sanders is over there saying, yeah.
Sure.
Yes. Dude. You would definitely be classified in this. And this is why it's stupid. This wealth tax that they want to put. And it's being held assets. A lot of assets aren't. So, here, let me just explain it this way. If I owned a business, like I do, I own a business, and say, in this ministry here, that right now, that I'm doing and streaming to you guys, I have 1,000, let's say, it gets really big, I have $100,000 worth of equipment, of vehicles to go do ministry, a building that we're doing ministry from, all this stuff, and say, just throwing a number out there, 100,000. So 100,000, that's the value of it. They would tax that $100,000 of assets as if it was money. The problem is that $100,000 of assets isn't money. It means I gotta sell off some of my equipment in order to pay taxes, or just not make as much in order to reinvest into the ministry. In this case, another example would be if I had, say, $100,000 in the bank, and I'm saving up. I don't want to take out a loan to buy a house, but I want to make sure I have enough money in there. They'll look at that saying, oh, wow, you have $100,000 worth of assets right there. We're going to tax that. So you tax it when I earn it. I earn it from working in my business. They take their 30% out of that. And then I go and put it in the bank. I'm saving up, like a good person, I'm saving up my money, right? That's what you're supposed to do. They always say, save up, save up, save up. At least that's what they always told me when I was growing up. Save up your money. So I'm putting all the money I can away. I'm paying my taxes. At the end of the year, they still want to tax what I have in the bank. What? You want to tax what I have in the bank? After you've already taxed it. So if I buy an item for a business, pay the sales tax, pay all the taxes on the item, use it for my business, I still have to pay additional taxes per year on that asset. That makes no sense. It's a quick way of killing a lot of business, that's for sure. Absolutely, or finding people that go around loopholes on it.
Okay.
So the answer to that one, by the way, is no. If it wasn't clear by my rant, no. Should the federal government pay universal basic income to every American adult? Is this seriously where we're at nowadays? Bernie Sanders actually said no to this, which is weird. Considering he's normally free stuff, free stuff, free stuff. I'll give you a bunch of free stuff, and he definitely seems to be front runners for the as far as the Democrats go, and that's going to be interesting. So, no, there's not enough money. You don't get to live for free. You must work to live. You must work to earn money in order to feed you, your family. You don't just get the government to give you money for nothing.
I'm here, I breathe, therefore you owe me money.
That's the concept you're proposing in this. No! It's stupid! How many weeks should the U.S. mandate in pay? Oh, paid family leave. Okay. For workers. Okay, now this one I'm kind of interested on. I don't like the mandated, the state is saying you have to, as far as if I had an employee, I have to guarantee them 12 weeks off if they need it for a family activity. Most of the time would be the birth of a new child or a death of the family. I don't think the government should require that. as far as a mandate goes. But 12 weeks seems to be enough. Definitely with just going through a death and just going through the birth of my child last year. I'd say that the 12 weeks would definitely be enough for one of those events. Definitely, well, when it comes to women, they need that time just to bond with the child. The husband's not as much. It's much more important that the mother bond with the child than it is for the father, too. I'm thinking 12 weeks is enough per year. I don't think you have that many family members dying that you would need more than that. I think I took, what, 2 weeks? A week. Solid week off work for the death of my grandfather, just to get his stuff in order. But that was it. That was it. I didn't need any more time than that. Maybe it would have been nice to take some more time to mourn, but that's about it. That's all I really needed. So 12 should be enough. I don't think it needs to be increased. Definitely if it's a federal decision. Okay.
Should the federal government...
What the heck? Reparations to the descendants of slaves. I guarantee you, no one who has grown up in the United States, who has spent their entire life in the United States, has ever been a slave. At this point. It has been such a long time since slavery has happened that no one who was a slave or born into slavery is still alive. They have all passed away. Illegally, yes. My wife points out, legally. Yes, legally. Okay? As far as the government, because if you're talking about human trafficking, that's illegal and that's something completely different. And that's something we do have a massive issue with. But that's something on a completely different line. No. Absolutely not. That makes no freaking sense. Study it. My rear end. Why would you... This again is...
We're giving away free money, so vote for us. We'll give you money.
We'll give you money. This is the death of this representative democracy if we have this. If we have just people giving away free stuff and that's why they get elected, is because they give away the most free stuff. Makes no sense. Do you support raising the federal minimum wage to $15 per hour nationwide? No, you morons! One, I should be smart enough to be able to set my own minimum. Means I will not work for under this amount. If I can't find a job, then I will need to change that number. And in a competitive market, the number increases naturally. No, the problem is if you say that in order for someone to work at McDonald's, they have to pay them $15 per hour. You get $15 per hour guaranteed if you work at McDonald's. That is almost double what it is currently. I know in New York, when we took a trip to New York, we were definitely in the area where they raised it up to $15 per hour. Definitely McDonald's did. We stopped at McDonald's on the way back and about crap my pants how much money they required for everything. Holy cow! McDonald's value menu, not so much. There was no value on that menu. Oh. I looked at my father and said, yeah, this is why they've increased it to $15 an hour. I can tell. Because it's hurting my wallet. It was like, there was stuff up there for what, $18? On a McDonald's menu. On the menu, as you walked in, looked up, there were chicken strips for $15. I was looking at it and saying, what happened to the dollar menu? It is now the $15 menu. Holy cow. Man, large family, no go to McDonald's anymore. Too much. And they all agree on this. This is stupid. Should the federal government guarantee a job for every American? No. Where is all this money coming from? You want to increase it to $15 per hour. You want to guarantee it for everyone. You want to give reparations. You want to... This isn't the 1% you're talking about. This is like 100% of my paycheck that you're wanting to be able to pay for all this stuff. Should the federal government guarantee a job for every American? No. No. It should be you. If you cannot get your own job, you make a job. You figure out how to make money. There's always a niche. There's always an option. There's always a way to do it. Even if you gotta take a crappy job for a little bit while you work on getting your own business running, you do that. If you gotta clean toilets for a year so that you can make your way and pay off college loans that you probably shouldn't have taken to begin with in order to get yourself a better job, you do what you have to do. You can make it. You can pull yourself up from your own bootstraps. You can do it. Yes, I use the term correctly. AOC. Idiot. Okay. So no, they should not guarantee a job to everyone. Oh my gosh. Should the government cancel existing student debt? If so, for everyone or based on income? This is part of the you make your decisions, you gotta live with it thing. They are offering you, and this really is the root of what the Democrats seem to be offering nowadays, is no matter what decision you make, we'll cover for you. If you made a bad decision, if you decide to get that gender studies degree and spend $100,000 and get that all through student loans, we're going to cancel all your debt. We're just going to give it to you for free. And I still have student loans from when I was in college. I still have them. I've worked my butt off to pay them off. I made that a priority to get them paid off as much as possible. But I still have them. So yes, this would, in theory, benefit me in that way. I wouldn't have to pay off my student loans. But then again, where the frick are you getting this money? Again, don't want to make it sound like all the money, and that's what, you know, I talked about student loan forgiveness. Someone got on there, all you care about is money. No, I care about practicality. Is it practical to do this? For some idiot who decided to get a degree that doesn't matter and had no actual prospects, instead of doing the research and getting a degree or going to even a a local college, or even better yet, a trade school. That's a much better option in many regards. So no, it should not be canceled. Absolutely against it. It would take way too much money, and there's way... Oh, look up our national student loan debt. It is staggering, the number. We're already spending too much to begin with. Do you support the breakup of big tech companies such as Facebook, Google, and Amazon? I'd be open to it, I guess. I don't know. I don't like monopolies. I don't like how powerful Google is. I don't like how powerful Amazon is. I think it kills off all of its competitors, and then it's basically functioning as a monopoly in many regards. Or you end up with only like 3 options as far as online shopping. Any sort of online shopping. But at the same time, I would make sure that they don't kill off their smaller competition. That there's always room for the smaller competition to grow and challenge the larger entities. But I don't think the government should come down and just squash anyone that decides to make a big company. Because, wow, what a big reward. Yeah, you employ millions and millions of people, but we're just going to break you up. We're just going to immediately crunch all your hard work. Yeah, we're going to wipe that away. That's not good. But then again, I have my problems with Facebook, Google, and Amazon. So, yeah. Got mixed feelings about that one. Do you support ratification of the U.S., Mexico, Canada trade agreement passed by the House? Yes, because I still think it's a mess. That simple. Do you support raising the federal... Oh my gosh. Corporate income tax rate above its current level of 21%. So if this impacts this, it would definitely impact mine. Yes. Return to 35%. Ugh.
It's bad.
Yeah, somewhere between 21 and 35. No. No.
But
I believe in the top-down model. I believe that as you require less taxes on the companies themselves, they will want to expand because they will want to, tell you truthfully, they are greedy and they want to expand their money, and that's what they've been doing this entire time as far as building a company. So they will want to expand it more. Therefore, they will need more employees. They'll need to pay more competitive wages. In order to pull their employees, they're going to want to keep their employees, definitely the good ones, so they have to increase their pay in order to do it. And in the end, I win. Because I want that to happen. Either they increase their productivity by increasing their amount of employees. Right now we are in such a big it's so weird. We're such a big debt of people that need to work. Basically, we have so many jobs out there that there's not enough people to really fill them. So much so that I have a temp agency that I went to like years and years and years ago. And they've been calling me weekly, asking me, do you know anyone that needs a job? Can you tell me of anyone that needs a job? Because we need to find someone that has a job. We have great jobs. We just need to find someone. And I'm looking at this thing. Wow.
they're so desperate, they're calling me now instead of me calling the temp agency.
So no, that would be bad. It'd be a bad idea. Oh, do you support a national rent control cap? No! Again, you should allow the people to be able to negotiate themselves. And definitely, you know what, my parents do own a few properties. And to have the government come in and say, hey, you can't rent this for any more than $500 a month. $500 a month is the max that you can rent this place for. In fact, universally, you can only rent it for this much. That's going to be a huge disincentive for anyone to build, for anyone to be in the renting industry, to be landowners. It would be a terrible, terrible, terrible decision for them, because they just won't be able to make enough money. Really wouldn't. So no, that would be a horrible idea. Again, government coming in and controlling, I'd say no, just like I would the marijuana thing. I'm being consistent. There's a consistent line here. Don't like gun control? Same stance as with marijuana. Still the people's decisions. Should the federal... Oh, interest rate. Okay. Yes. But... revenue interest rate too high. I'm actually unclear about this one. I'm going to have to say I'm not. I don't know. I don't actually have this info. I'd have to look at it further. I did not for this question.
I have very little opinion on this one.
Okay. Oh boy. Would you maintain the... Oh, jeez. This one's a hard one. Standard deduction and child tax credit increases for tax cuts and Job Act. Yes. I definitely maintain the child because child tech credit just because I love children. Children are our future. Children are what we need to grow as a society. We're able to teach our kids, and having that as a tax credit is nice. Definitely because
Children cost a lot.
isn't that right, honey? Yes.
See how grumpy.
She laughs at me now. Okay, so would you pursue joining the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership? No. I don't think so. I actually don't know. There's a lot of big fancy words there, and I think it's hiding stuff. Just knowing how the government works and how they like pushing through things, I would definitely have to take a closer look at this to actually answer that question. Because they push through a lot of stuff, and I want to make sure it's not hidden. Definitely when they start saying comprehensive, progressive, they're trying to make it sound really freaking good. And when you try to make something sound really good, definitely when it comes to the government, normally it means that it's not. They're trying to hide that. So I'd have to take a closer look at it. I don't know. Because my reaction when someone gives me a big, long name like this, my reflex would be no. But since Bernie Sanders says no, I would have to re-evaluate that. Not saying for full purpose, but to give an informed answer, I'd have to say I'd have to pass on that.
Oh, shoot.
Did we enter into another section I didn't even think about? Probably. We're at 29. Yep, we have been at... Oh, no, we're still on... We just entered into it. Okay, good. I didn't screw up that much.
Okay.
Okay, do you support setting a price on carbon, such as with a carbon tax or cap and trade? Cap and trade. No. Because that would be extremely hard, and yes, you would be able to earn some income from that. But since that money is supposed to be instantly turned around and spent on green sources, which aren't really green, they're actually worse for the environment in many cases. No. Because I think it's stupid.
Onto
education, I believe.
Yes, education.
Fantastic. This one's taking forever to go through, but there's so many questions and so many different issues. I wanted to cover them all, and definitely before Super Tuesday. So we can take a look at this. Definitely Bernie Sanders says,
"Hey, I'm going to be the front runner. I'm going to be your president."
I would definitely like to see where he stands on some of these. Oh, how should the government subsidize public four-year college? This is what should? Wait, what? How should the government subsidize? It's assumed action. Not that we're not doing it. So they should guarantee without debt. So why on earth would I pay anything if it's guaranteed without debt? It should be free. Again, who's paying all? You're giving the colleges a blank check and saying, charge me whatever you want. This is most of the issue why we are in this problem with the colleges cost so much to begin with. Because the government originally stood in and said, oh, we'll just subsidize whatever you can't pay. And the colleges are like, really? So we need to charge more. And therefore it increases. It is ridiculous how that worked, because if you, the original charges, if you look back at the years of how much colleges cost, as soon as the government started subsidizing stuff, as soon as the government started giving away money, you saw a massive, massive increase. in how much colleges cost. And you'll see that, and eventually they'll bankrupt the United States, because there's no way we can pay for everyone to go to a 4-year college for free. It's not feasible at all. Okay, should the government subsidize 2-year colleges? Repeat answer from last time. Heck no! I need me money. Not the government need my money to pay for someone's 4-year college degree or 2-year college for some gender studies crap. I know I pick on that one, but again, anything that they would go into that would not be productive, are they paying this back afterwards? Are they, because they're not. You're giving them for free. So even if they went through, got the degree meant nothing. They are of zero production to the United States. They will not be able to pay enough in taxes in order to cover the amount that they used in free healthcare, free college, everything that has been given away for free. There's no way for them to be able to make that much throughout their lifetime in order to pay back, unless you're taxing 100% of their incomes. And even then, I would still be skeptical, believing that you will fall short. Very, very short. And at the same time have very unhappy workers, because you're taxing everything of their $15 wages. Okay. Should the government cancel existing student loans? And if so, for everyone, oh, this is the same question. The answer is still no, same as last time. Do you support the use of public charter schools and alternatives to traditional system? Yes. Absolutely. I like that idea. I like the idea of having alternatives to the government stepping in and dictating what the curriculum is, what needs to be taught. Right? That has not worked. Our public school systems are in really bad shape in every way, shape, or form. And form. Not or form. Every shape and form. They're in bad shape. A lot of the amount of ignorance of high school graduates is staggering. Staggering. I was homeschooled. And I'm still blown away by how much people who have gone to public school only don't know about basic history, about geography, about how the United States even functions. It is astounding, and having any alternative to the traditional system is absolutely, and of course, there are many there that just want to ban and get rid of them altogether. In Title IX investigations, should college students accused of sexual assault have the right to cross-examine their accusers? The answer is yes. As American citizens, we do have that right to, one, face our accusers, and also be able just to ask them. Now, it should be done in, of course, a court setting. It should be in that. People would, of course, say, oh no, you're just putting the victim through more hardship. Well, one, he hasn't been actually sentenced. He hasn't been. All you have done is just accused. So there's just an investigation. So he's not actually been proven to have a crime. So we assume that he is innocent. It is innocent until proven guilty. So the accused is actually the victim here, because he's being something is being accused against him, and he therefore puts up his defense, and we therefore have to actually show that he did this. Recently we've jumped to the conclusion of guilty until proven innocent, which is by far a terrifying way to look at it. So yes, they should have the right to cross-examine their accusers. It should be done in a safe environment. As far as there's a police officer there, I would assume, would have a loaded gun, of course. You gotta go through a metal detector. You do not have a loaded gun. There's no way for, if he is, or if the accused is, actually did do the sexual assault, there's no way for them to cause injury to the individual. There are many advocates who would say, oh no, you're causing mental stress and mental injury by putting them on the spot. But if you're going to make this accusation, you're going to ruin someone's life over it, you definitely should give them the opportunity to defend themselves. So, should the federal government fund and implement a national free universal pre-K system program? No. I don't like the government having their grubby fingers on our children to begin with. And again, this is free for everyone. Bernie Sanders, free for everyone. Everyone, free, free, free. Why is it always free stuff? Why can't I work for it and earn it and get it? Now, I can understand where you'd say definitely with single parent households, being able to have pre-K programs would be wonderful, but no, the government again gets control of the system, and of course Hitler there did state very clearly that you can have your old men, but I want the children. The children are the future of the nation, and therefore whoever controls the children control the nation. So no. Should the federal government subsidize teachers' pay? Again, no. Why is it so far? I have not heard very much that would cause us to spend less. In fact, each one of these proposals has been spending more money, just throwing more money at the problem in order to solve it. The answer is not that we just subsidize teachers' pay. I know quite a few teachers who would love that, and I do agree that definitely the teachers do get the short end of the stick. Many teachers get the short end of the stick when it comes to pay. But the government subsidizing it? No. In that case, no, not in that way. There are alternatives that I would like to pursue, but definitely not that way. I actually don't know the answer to this one, so I'm going to have to pass this one here. Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know the story behind this one. I'd have to look into it deeper. Do you support using federal money, public money? Do you support using public money, which is federal money? The same difference. In the form of vouchers or tax credits for private or religious schools, school education? The answer is yes. I would very much. Again, I like the idea of vouchers or tax credits. I like the idea of being able to say, no, I want my student to go to this school. This school has a great record. I want my child to be able to go to this school, be whatever it is. And then that school gets a voucher for that child's attendance, and that school then gets more federal money, more federal funding. I think that would be a much better option than what we have currently, where you're just stuck wherever you are and you have to go to school wherever you are. I think this would give very good opportunities for very low income families that have to be stuck in bad neighborhoods in order to get their children out of those bad neighborhoods and into much better schools. I guess the only statement there that would be an issue is transportation. How do you get to those schools? I would then propose that it would be on the parents. You could have multiple stops for those schools, depending on where the location of the children are. If the parent would get the child to those places, then the school would then take care of it from there. Oh, so that's a talk. If you have children, do they attend K-12 public school for the majority of their school years? This is a personal one. I'd say no. I love homeschooling, and in fact, that's what we are planning on doing, is homeschooling. I don't think the government should be indoctrinating our children into whatever philosophy the government decides is good at the time. I think it's a fool's gambit in that regard, and it will bite us in the rear end in most cases. Whew. Oh, this is a freaking marathon, man. I know we are halfway there, just as a point of reference in this entire thing. And I still have, three other topics to say. Oh my gosh, this is the first topic. Woo! Okay. Let's go ahead and hit this. Oh, do you support setting a price on carbon, such as, this same question. We're at 40, which is, we are now in climate change. Oh no, we're all going to die if we don't immediately pay a bunch of money because of reasons. Again, no. You'll be a pain in the rear end. Definitely stunt most companies would be stunted by that, and that would not be good. Would you ban fracking? No, absolutely not. I would actually look at, if it's not limited already, look at limiting it. It can cause problems, but at the same time, it is one of the cleanest ways to extract oil from the ground by fracking. Do you support building more nuclear power plants? Absolutely. Actually, out of all the options that are out there, this is by far the cleanest energy source we have, is nuclear power. It is by far the cleanest for CO2 emissions. That's not a widely accepted fact, but it is a fact nevertheless. Of course, Bernie Sanders says no, and I'd phase out nuclear power. It's like, I thought you were supposed to be for, being green, and even I say this would be a good idea. And I don't buy into climate change. Well, I agree that climate change, but as in my video previously that I did with climate change in the Bible, we see climate change from beginning to end. This planet has gone through many climate changes. The fact that we can't screw on our heads to know if this is climate warming, climate cooling, or just climate change. Throw up your hands and give up, and it's a climate catastrophe. I'm sure it is this time. Would you ban fossil fuel exports? No. I would definitely make sure that we would be self-sufficient if we can. But exporting, we need to bring in money to pay for a lot of these things that you're proposing. So yes, we'd still need to pay for them. So I would say no. I would definitely look into it deeper, try to figure out how we can be more independent and less reliant on the Middle East. Should we rejoin the Paris Agreement? No, you freaking morons!
Absolutely not!
This is beyond all stupid. We were getting scammed in the Paris agreements. We were getting scammed with it. We were paying for it, and then everyone else was slacking off. No! It's stupid. It's a fool's gambit again. Ugh. Would you end leasing for fossil fuel exports on federal lands? No. Again, if you want to be able to be independent as far as fossil fuels go, we need to be able to pull it from the locations that we have these resources. And if the federal government said this is my land, we should still be able to provide for our people from those lands. Do you support the Green New Deal resolution? No, in fact, I know most of these people didn't vote for it. Because it's nuts. It's crazy. We're not banning all freaking cows. What do you think we're going to do? Shoot them all? What's the point? Would you eliminate fossil fuels subsidizations? I have no clue. I really don't. This I'm not going to say one way or the other around. I don't know enough about it. This is another personal one. Are you doing something about your carbon campaign's carbon footprint? But considering I'm not campaigning, this doesn't really apply to me too much. But I know most of them either fly around or drive around. I don't understand how this could be something. How they can follow this. Would you seek... would you seek repeal of criminal penetration? After speaking so long, my tongue is getting tired. Penalizations for people. Oh, okay. Sorry. I was still on the climate change. I'm like, what does this have to do with climate change? My mindset's not working on this, but we're now in
immigration. Immigration!
Great! What do you see? The repeal of criminal... gosh, my brain's not working anymore. Basically, prosecution of anyone that crosses the border illegally. Of course, they say yes. No, laws are put in place for a reason. And in this case, we would need to keep our borders and enforce those laws.
Next.
If I can figure out how to do next. There we go. So many problems with this new setup. We're good. Okay. Do you support extending the existing physical borders on the U.S.-Mexico border? I would presume this is still the wall, talking about building it further. The answer is yes. Are you going to leave it unfinished? No. I believe that there are many sections that we still need to finish of that. There are many sections that are just open land. You need to have a physical barrier there. I think Trump has a very good idea as far as how to implement that. I'm actually kind of excited that he actually is implementing that, which I would have thought this would have been one of those,
oh, we're going to do this,
that you state on the campaign trail and then never follow through, and he definitely has done his best to follow through with that, which is great. Would you redistribute the responsibilities of immigration and customs enforcement, or ICE, into other agencies? If so, would ICE be abolished? It seems that one definitely does. Sanders, no, this is a very critical aspect of our defense. We need to know who's coming in. We need to know what their intents are. If they are intending to cause harm to the people here, are they smuggling something that's illegal? All these aspects need to be addressed and need to be taken care of. Definitely, ICE functions in that regard and needs to continue to function in that regard. Imagine serving your whole life in this field, serving as an ICE agent, and now your commander-in-chief wants to get rid of your job, wants to get rid of you. You spent your whole life in service to these people, and now they want to get rid of you. That is horrible. That's horrible to live with. Do you believe that all undocumented, illegal, immigrants should be covered under the government-run health plan? No! Why on earth? Okay, we don't have enough money to cover those taxpayers who are actually paying their taxes. Why would you just want to give this away for free? You already want to let them come in for free, and then you want to give them free healthcare? That makes no sense at all. It's not feasible, it's not possible, and it's moronic. Really are. All you're doing, all the Democrats are doing with this is just saying basically, come here illegally, vote illegally, and get me into office, so therefore I can give you a bunch of free crap. That's what it is. Should the federal government require the use of verification to check the legal status of all hires by private employers? Well, I mean, you already have driver's license. If you're required to use a driver's license or some proof of citizenship in order to be employed, I would say yes. I see one saying yes if possible. No, that wouldn't work anyway. So no. So no, you would need to prove. I would not be behind proving that you are a United States citizen before you're able to be hired. Of course, Bernie Sanders said, "No, don't ask these questions. No." Do you support increasing border security funding, increasing new screening, including new screening equipment at ports of entry, and additional resources to process the recent increase of asylum seekers? Yeah, I actually agree with this one, surprisingly. A lot of them do agree with this. I believe that supporting our border security is critical. I believe that if they are actually seeking asylum, then they need to go to the first nation that they come across that they can seek asylum, and seek it there, not go to America and then seek asylum, no matter how many nations they go through before getting to America. If you're not seeking asylum from the nation that you just went through, go back to that nation. Should the U.S. return to accepting at least 110,000 refugees a year, as the Obama administration planned? No. Definitely not. At least. That's the minimum. No. Immigration has been a massive problem, definitely with different ideologies coming in. There are some ideologies that are in extreme contradiction to the American concept, the American dream. Having people come in that are have ideals that are in direct conflict with the American ideal leads us to having massive issues as far as being able to integrate them in. We end up having isolated groups that no longer follow the United States. Basically, we have a foothold situation. You could say that we currently don't have that. I'd say there are a few places that are right like that in the United States. I'd say if you want better examples, you look at the UK, you look at Sweden, the rape capital of the world, you look at these other nations who have accepted refugees at or above this rate and have massively paid for trying to switch their culture between what they currently have and whatever the immigrants are bringing with them. Because they're not immigrating, they are reforming, which is a massive issue. Okay. So do you support the option of detaining asylum-seeking families together in non-prison settings until their asylum claims can be processed, or should they always be released into the nation while awaiting a decision? No, this is stupid. So if I come across, I have a family, and I come across, and you say, oh, okay, what is your request for asylum? Why are you requesting asylum? Does this qualify? While that is going through process, you just release me into the public without any sort of requirement? Without any sort of look over? You just release me as you're waiting for this? No. Should the taxpayer pay for basically hotel rooms for these people who are not taxpayers, who are seeking asylum, seeking our mercy, to stay at while we are waiting a decision? Maybe. I think they should still be set basically, depending on the situation. If they cross the border illegally, that would be something else. But if they went to the asylum, went to one of the boarding crossings, and declared asylum, request for asylum, I think the hotel option would be an option. I would not do a normal hotel. I would do basically a nice prison. Somewhere where they can be watched, somewhere where they can be guarded, make sure they don't just slip away and into the general public, which we do currently have an issue with. But they are basically placed under guard in basically hotel rooms. But in the prison setting, being able to be watched and guarded. Okay. Do you support a path to citizenship for the roughly 11 million immigrants now living in the country without permission? So these are illegal immigrants. These aren't just normal immigrants. See, this is what I said, the wordplay. They try to switch things around on you. And others. Others. What would you classify as others? Either they're illegal or they're not. Others. In the United States. Under protection status programs. Absolutely not. If they came here illegally, if they're here illegally, if you're talking about asylum seekers, that's different. Asylum seekers that go through the process, go through the actual legitimate process, that's different. But if you're talking about illegal immigrants who violated our laws by coming in here, no, they should be kicked out to their country. If they want to come in legally, they can come around to the legal border and go through. There is no reason that they should illegally cross the border. If not, they should be basically banned from the United States permanently. In fact, I think that would be a great disincentive for people who are trying to cross the border illegally, if you know that if you get caught, you're never going to be allowed in there again. You'd be exported back, basically, immediately, and banned from the United States permanently. Do you support increasing... oh, jeez. Do you support increasing foreign aid to, and I know I'm going to butcher these if I don't do them right the first time, Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala in an effort to reduce the flow of asylum seekers to the United States? No. Why? 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 Why is this even a question? Seriously. Basically, what you're stating is we are going to pay these countries money so that they don't send us asylum seekers. Why should we have to pay these other nations? Why should we support these other nations? So that they don't send over. This is blackmail. This is very possibly a blackmail. If you don't support them enough, they're just going to send asylum seekers over. This is like paying a criminal not to steal from you. What? Why? Why? This makes no sense. Why? We're not getting anything out of this. We have no obligation to these asylum seekers. Definitely if they have false claims. No. Do you support Medicare for all? Let's see. Are we in another section? Yes, we are. We are in healthcare. Which we've talked about healthcare so much that it feels like we've already gone through it, but oh well, here we go again. Do you support Medicare for all? No. I've already given my reasons. I'm going straight through this one. Next.
I said next.
There we go. It's me not pressing the buttons. That's what the problem is. What should happen to private insurance? Should definitely be there. Now, our healthcare system is in need of some massive improvement. There's no question about that. The healthcare system that I would recommend, the improvements that I would definitely pursue is make transparency, make it transparent. You know when you go to the doctors how much something's going to cost. They give you an estimate, they give you a quote, just like anything else, any other business you go to. I would never go to a fast food restaurant if they just had their food up there and then you just picked and 6 months later I got a bill in the mail. I would never do that. That would be insane. You just don't know what you're paying, you just get a bill. That's it. And that's basically what we have currently. And no, that's definitely wrong. Private insurance, fine, but we need to know exactly how much we are paying for these procedures before we pay for them. And if you're saying, well, it's just so fluid, we don't necessarily know if things happen, we need to know about that. You know what? I've done contract work. And in contract work, sometimes you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what, there might be some changes to this project. But you give a quote, and that's what you go by. You give that quote. And yeah, sometimes you pay more, sometimes you pay less, counting on the situation and some factors in it. But before I start any project, the customer knows how much they're going to pay out of pocket. Before it starts. Not at the end. So that would be my my stickler on that one.
So no.
Go back, make sure I actually answered that question. What should happen to private insurance? Nothing. In fact, I'd open up where private insurance would be able to compete across borders, across state borders as well, so that then you have more of an open market as far as insurances go, and the transparency of the hospitals. See, I prefer urgent cares because I know exactly how much the urgent care is actually going to charge you before you even start. They can tell you, which is nice. Do you support creating a public option to expand healthcare, such as allowing people to buy into a state Medicare program regardless of income? Again, no. The government, once they start requiring you to pay for something, is moronic. When Obama said, oh, you gotta buy healthcare or you're going to have to pay this ever-increasing fee every frickin' year. I'm not sore about that. No, that just doesn't work, because there's a lot of things that start happening that come with that could become massive problems. I'll explain that later, because I know there's at least one question that's coming up that I'll need to talk about. But should there be restrictions on abortion at any point during a healthy pregnancy? Absolutely. In fact, this is one of the things that is most important to me. As I mentioned earlier, they're not main topics that I would be, I will either vote for you or won't. This is something that is, when it comes to abortion, we'll decide if I vote for you or not. Because children's lives are so valuable. Because the life of a child is immensely, amazingly valuable, that I will never vote for someone who is pro-abortion. Just based upon abortion alone, I will not vote for you. That's real quick. You say you're against completely against abortion, I'll vote for you. Absolutely. Actually, it would be a very big swing in your advantage. Do you believe do you believe all illegal immigrants should be covered under government-run healthcare? The answer is still no. Same as before. They repeat some of these questions. I don't know why they do. How many weeks should the United States mandate in paid family leave for workers? Again, 12 seems to be fine with me. I can understand if there's extra situations, but the government should not mandate those. Again, government mandation. No. I don't like the government mandating things. Do you support having the federal government provide and sell generic drugs to lower drug prices? No, this is idiotic. There are many reasons why this is idiotic. First of all, and this is sort of a term phrase, there's a phrase going around, and you hear it every now and then. Yeah, that's good enough for government work. And it's true. The government work is the minimum required work that you do. And that's it. That is what's qualified as good enough for government work.
I don't want that with my drugs.
If this drug is going to save my life, if it's a generic drug, it's going to be the Tylenol that I use, or the Advil, or the pain reliever that I use, every so often, I want it to be really well tested. I want it to be well put together. I don't want something that was good enough for government work to be provided for me. 1. 2. The problem with government providing a product is this. It's one step away from requiring everyone to buy that product.
But brother, that's just a slippery slope argument.
Yes, it's a freaking slippery slope argument. Guess what? Slippery slope arguments are real. There are slippery slopes. Look at the Boy Scouts. Boom. Done. Okay. So what would be if they started producing drugs under the U.S. label? These are the U.S. drugs. What's to stop them from saying you have to go out and buy these U.S. drugs? It's a requirement that if you're going to buy any generic drugs, you have to buy the U.S. drug label. Why? Well, we know how it's provided. We know how it's tested. We know how it's safe. We know that it's safe. And these other big companies, we just don't know if they're safe. So you have to buy the U.S. brand drugs. And what's to stop it from expanding from there? You got to, when you're looking at these regulations and looking at should the government do this, or should we give the government this power, or support the government to do this, what are all the aspects of that happening? We were at one point required to buy healthcare. Would this eventually become that could we eventually be required to buy the U.S. generic drugs? Because the U.S. knows that they're safe. And the only ones that are U.S. approved for you to buy. Would that be an issue? I bet you it would be. And additionally, they could also just undercut all their competition by basically saying you can get these for free. And then once all the other competition dies, they can crank it up. Wouldn't be hard to do. Would be actually really easy because basically they have the entire government behind them. They can use the government money, basically your tax money, to subsidize it so that they could give you these drugs for free, undercut their competition, kill off their competition, and then raise their prices. And then you are required to buy the government's drugs only at government, good enough for government work. Support the federal legalization of recreational marijuana. Again, government regulations I don't like, so your decision, but no healthcare. No healthcare for all. So, do you support importing drugs from other nations? Other countries? No. No, I don't like that concept. I would not do that concept. That seems very bad. Why? Because I remember when China sold us toys with lead paint. In my lifetime. Actually, this was like, what? I think maybe 8 years ago. They were doing this. Oh, no. I know the testing that goes... In the United States, we can control the testing that happens to our drugs in order for them to pass. In other nations, we would not have that control. And it seems like a very stupid thing when we're starting to mess with the chemicals of the human body. Do you support giving the federal government the ability to negotiate drug prices for Medicare? Again, we're giving an ability. I would say no. Because when you go and you buy a drug, definitely if it's some sort of specialized drug, the prices are tremendously huge. I'm not kidding. I have an eye drop that I have to take, and it's $100+ per bottle of this eye drop for 25 days. For 25 days. So $100 plus per every 25 days I gotta pay. That is a lot of money. But what I'm doing is I'm paying for the research that goes into it, the testing, the trial and error, even before the testing, the trial and error that goes along with that, the failed experiments with it. I'm paying for basically someone to find a way to produce this drug that would then help me in whatever way I need. And this works very well for generic drugs because you mass produce generic drugs, but whenever you go to something that's specialized, then the prices go up because not so many people need them. Therefore, the individual price is much higher. No, because that would then drive down innovation and we will not get as many good drugs as we have in order to cure or treat whatever ailments we have. This would be we'd be cutting off our own legs in this case. Okay. I just have one subject after this. Thank goodness. Okay. Do you support... Do you support partially expanding Medicare by allowing people ages 50 to 64 to buy into Medicare? So this is for the older people. So this would be an older bracket. It's only 14-year gap there. Would their coverage end at that? Would they be like out of it? Granted, that is by far the biggest expense time in most people's lives of needing healthcare, most risky. Just because, sorry to say, but things are falling apart between 50 and 60. Or after that, it even gets worse. But for some reason, they just want to cap it off at 64. I'd say no. Because again, I would like to phase out Medicare. I would, if I were in this case, I would be looking at reducing government-supported stuff as much as possible, and Medicare would be part of that. So next, 70. We have a couple more on this. Would you seek to repeal the HYPE amendment, which prohibits the use of federal funds for abortion? No. And again, this would be something that would be a deciding factor if I was going to vote for someone or not. If they were saying that they were going to repeal this and basically use my money at gunpoint, forcing me at gunpoint to support abortions, my answer would be no. Absolutely not. And every candidate down there is, of course, supporting this.
So no, it seems that I will be voting for Trump because he at least doesn't do this.
Now look at issues, not political parties, although there are some people on YouTube and BitChute that say I am only for the party for some reason. Should the federal law require all private insurance plans, ensure all private insurance plans cover abortion? No! Absolutely not. That's wrong. Now you're telling basically private insurance that you have to do this. So any sort of Christian organization who is an insurance group would have to provide for abortion, and they don't want to do that. And it's an appalling thing. It is absolutely, abortion is by far one of the worst sins that we have legalized, undoubtedly. It's horrendous. Would you reverse the Mexico City policy, which prohibits U.S. funding for foundations foreign organizations that perform or actively promote abortion? No. So what? It's not just good enough that you're killing our kids. We've got to go to other nations and kill their kids? Really? You just like killing babies. That's it. I mean, really, from this whole list, that's the main thing I can definitely tell from this healthcare list is Democrats love killing babies. That's about it. Don't know why. Babies are wonderful. They're wonderful little tykes. They can be a pain in the rear end, but man, they're cute. Do you support eliminating... okay. This is a change again. We're now in Democratic changes. And my answer would be no. Just putting out there, in general. Don't think we should just change our government as soon as some party decides to jump into it. I don't even like the 4-year term as far as president goes, just because it seems to flip-flop so much. Seems that we can't get any sort of stable course going. It's good and bad. That means the people that get in that I disagree with aren't in there very long, but the problem is the people that I agree with get in there, they're not in there very long, and it just flips-flops back and forth. It just seems like every so often we just flip-flop. Do you support eliminating the Electoral College in favor of a popular vote? No! This is such a bad idea. Such an incredibly bad idea. Why? Right now, every state has their own value and has their own amount that they can put forth. Each state is limited in that regard. But if we do this popular vote thing, then there's only 2 states that will matter in an election. You will have New York and California. And answer me this, do you really want New York and California running the rest of the nation? Just think about it a little bit. Do you want your vote, because if you're in the Midwest, your vote would mean zippo with this. Right now it's balanced out between all of us. Yeah, it's balanced out. But if not, then it's going to... all the delegates have to do is run to basically two cities, and they've got 99% of the vote right there. They're good. If they campaign in 2 states, they're good for all the other states. It would be incredibly stupid. The Electoral College was put in place in order to make sure that 2 states did not rule over all the other states. And if we do end up having it, we run into, actually, out of all situations, I look at the Hunger Games as an example of that, where you had basically District 1 and 2 running the show for all the other districts. And District 2 was only jumping in with District 1 because it was in bed so that they could rule over. And District 2 got a lot of kickbacks from District 1 in that case. And basically that's what we would see with California and New York, is they would rule over everything else. So
no, that would be stupid.
Should Democrats elect... should Democrats eliminate... Yeesh. I've been looking at these for too long. The Senate filibuster the next time they control the chamber. I would be for this. I don't like filibusters. Filibusters are horrible. Filibusters are... I know you wouldn't normally go for this, but I'm going to slip it under all these nice things so that it gets slipped in. So it votes for everything else. It's not that you have the ability to vote on each individual item. It's all in general. You have to vote on all of it or none of it. I would rather vote for each portion of it than for all or none. Do you support adding justices to pack the Supreme Court? No, that would be stupid. Because even though if your guy does control it for now, the next guy won't be your guy. And you could pack it. So what we'd end up doing is we'd end up having unlimited Supreme Court justices. However many that the sitting president wants to pack in there. Before long, we just have this mob of Supreme Court justices. That's all we'd be left with. It would be stupid. Would you support term limits for Supreme Court justices? I'd say yes, because right now they are for life. I would also, if we're going to limit them, have it having a where you elect what judges are there. Although having the having that limit there would still be good. So I'd say yes, I'm open to it. Which surprised me because I'm in line with Warren, which is weird. But say that me. I agree with her on that one, so let's move right along. Should any individual be allowed to vote while incarcerated? Already answered this. The answer is no. Of course, Bernie Sanders says, yes, everyone should vote out of the time and they should vote for me. Should citizens be automatically registered to vote when they turn 18? Again, I think we already answered this one. Although, now that they're all starting to blend into one big question after 79 questions, it's starting to become a blur. Should they automatically be registered to vote when they turn 18? No. No, because you should still have to register for the draft, and you should have the option of not registering for the draft if you don't register. I mean, you can. It is illegal, but you can do it. You give up that right to vote if you don't register for the draft. You should still be required to do that. Women do not have to do that, by the way, but that is very interesting. Should Election Day be a national holiday? Let me ask my wife. Wife!
I think it was a trap.
Should Election Day be a national holiday?
Sure.
That's my answer. Why not?
Sure,
I mean,
off work to vote, sure.
It happens once every 4 years. It's one day off. If you want to make it a national holiday, sure. Why not? I'd be all for it. More people voting. Okay. Yeah?
But what about the people who have to work the polls? Don't get off.
That's true. The people that have to work the polls don't get off, but they get double pay.
True.
So.
I would not mind that.
My wife has worked the polls before, so she gets to have a little bit of influence with that one. Should Washington, D.C. be granted statehood? No. No, Washington, D.C. should not be granted statehood. In fact, that completely defeats the purpose of the Washington, D.C. The reason why it was originally designated that is took from two states. It was in the middle, and they took it from 2 states in order to make its own district. Why? So that no one state could say that it rules over all the other states. This would defeat the purpose of that. We might as well made it New York City as our capital for all the good this would do. I'm probably going to butcher this. Should Puerto Rico be granted statehood? Now, it is currently a U.S. province, and I would actually agree with most of them, which is if they fit the requirements of statehood, let them decide. At least let them put forth the application, and we can look at how much it would cost us to accept them as a state at that point. I would not force them to become a state if they did not want to be. But definitely look into what the requirements are, and that they would have to then pay for everything a normal state would. So that would be a massive change for them, and it could be kind of cool to add another star onto the American flag. It's a little thing for me. So, should the voting age be lowered from 18 to 16? No! This would be bad. This would be so bad. How let me ask you, anyone who is watching this, and even run down to the comments down below and put in there, did you or did you not do incredibly stupid things between the age of 16 to 18? Were you capable of making decisions that would influence the entire United States during the ages of 16 through 18? Just even a simple yes or no. You don't have to describe it. Although if you do put situations down there, I might talk about that in my next comments review. Sorry. Okay. So, no, that would be stupid. In fact, originally it was a requirement that I think it was over 30, and you had to own land in order to vote. I would be very much for owning land as being a requirement, because then you have some serious skin in the game. That was the concept. You had to have real skin in the game in order to make decisions that would affect other owners.
And that was it. Thank goodness.
We are now done with that.